All right.
Alrighty, live, you're live.
Cool. All right. Live on Facebook. I'm coming to you all through Zoom, so I can't see a lot of the commentary on there. But sorry for the delay here. We had some issues getting in. And again, my name is Thosh. I'm one of the board members at the Native Wellness Institute. And I'm going to be sharing with you today a little bit about just some ideas around your fitness at home with using minimal equipment. And I know a lot of people have sometimes just a pair of dumbbells at home. And so I want to kind of share some things with that. And I also want to share some dynamic movement too, to help get warmed up. And this will be for all levels of no matter what your athletic level is or no matter your age. I'm going to be sharing stuff that's going to be appropriate for all levels and definitely to be able to be modified for all levels as well. And I've been on here a number of times in the past on the Power Hour Native Wellness Institute and sharing a little bit about fitness and movement. But before I get into that, just a little background about myself. I'm from the Untitled Chapter, the Salt River people, and I'm a co-founder along with my wife Chelsea of an Indigenous wellness initiative that we call Well for Culture, which is something we started under Native Wellness Institute. And our initiative is about reclaiming our health and wellness through movement, through our connection to foods, as well as all of our ancestral teachings, and applying those today about reclaiming our health, today's Native people. And so that's a little bit about the work that we do, together. And I started attending Native Wellness functions when I was 14, and I sit on the board now. And so I'm just honored and glad to be able to be a part of such a great group of people and have the opportunity to travel around Native country and learn so much about the similarities that we as Native people have in regards to our teachings, our health, and all of that. And so that's just just a little bit of background of where I'm coming from. And I've talked about many times in the past here about the importance of movement as it pertains to our spiritual, mental, and emotional health. And movement, fitness is not just something that we can do for aesthetics, for a nice, body or whatever, what people are acquiring today. That's a part of it, but movement is important for our functionality. It's important for keeping our mind, giving our mind clarity. It's important for empowering ourselves. It's important for even grounding our spirit and moving from a spiritual sense. And so those are some important things with movement. And I always talk about, Chelsea and I both say all the time that movement is our medicine, and movement helps us to feel grounded. Just one moment. See you. Bye-bye. My little family's just headed out the door, so I was just wishing them off. Love you. See you. Mm-hmm. So just kind of rewinding it back, that physical movement is important for our total health and wellness. And when we move, it's a way to celebrate your body. It's a way to celebrate what we have. We celebrate that we have arms, that we have legs, that we have a mind, that we have a heart, that we have this body. Our haunch, but our body is something that was given to us, and we have the ability to utilize it and to strengthen it for everyday use. So functional fitness, functional movement is what we really advocate for. It's exercising your body so your body just functions well, so just moves better throughout your daily activities. And again, like I said earlier, movement is celebrating our body. It's celebrating our physical wellness. And so that's the spiritual component to movement, I believe, is that when we get out to move, we can move with intention. We can move with that purpose in mind. We can move with something in the forefront of our mind. Is that, like for myself, when I move, when I get out to exercise my body, one of the reasons why I'm doing that is so I can be a healthy component within my family unit. So I can be an active and participatory member of my community. And I need to be well to be able to do that. And there's many ways that we take care of our total wellness, but fitness is just one component of it. Another thing that's at the forefront of my mind when I get out to move is I think about breaking unhealthy cycles that we've learned through colonialism. I think of recreating new healthy lifestyles and passing that on and demonstrating that to the next generation. So we make health in general the norm. We have to make that the norm again. And so that's why I believe movement is important. As we know too, movement is a way to also protect us from the onset of things such as type 2 diabetes, which is an epidemic in native country. Same thing with cancer, cardiovascular disease, heart disease, and it even aids in depression. It even helps to relieve anxiety. So we know that movement today can be utilized in combination with other activities to improve our health and wellness in native country. And to bring in the historical context, as native people, we didn't have to exercise. We didn't have to pick up, weights, or we didn't have to go outside to run for the purpose of cardiovascular health or strengthening movement patterns. Because those activities that our ancestors did on a daily basis were activities that was inherently a part of their culture. So they were already all around physically well. But today is different. And so as native people, as we are in the healing phase, we have to objectively exercise. We have to think about, we're living in a sedentary age. We're living in the age of plenty, where there's all sorts of unhealthy food at our beckoning call, and that contributes to our illness. We have to remember that we're living in a time where we're probably experiencing more stress than ever as human beings. Our ancestors, trying to survive in harsh climates, it had a certain level of stress that they dealt with. But today we have compounded forms of stress that we're dealing with today. Historical trauma, PTSD, just the everyday stresses of everyday life, traffic, our work, our bills, our family, juggling school, work. And movement is a way for us to help us to be well for all those things. And that's one of the basis of our initiative, Well for Culture. You're well for your culture today. You're well to be able to partake. You're well to take care of your family, to go to work and to have mental clarity so you can learn new things at school and apply that. So movement does that. Movement helps with releasing all of the, reducing cortisol. It releases the feel-good neurotransmitters, helps to relieve our anxiety and our stress. And that's something I feel too, I talk about this all the time, is that we get out and move, and I'll get out and exercise, and I get done with it after I've sweat, after I've let go of a lot, expended energy. Then I, for some reason, the things that were in my mind that were bothering me before no longer bother me. They seem petty to me. I think I had just pent up stress and energy, and I had to get rid of that so I can think clearer, I can think better. And so I encourage everyone to do that. I know that exercising sometimes, especially when you do it strenuously, it's not something that we want to do. Even from a physiological perspective, our bodies doesn't want to move if it doesn't have to. Our body wants to be comfortable, and our body doesn't want to be put to any sorts of resistance or stress. It wants to hang on to the energy that we have to be able to run our body at a cellular level. But sometimes we're taking in more energy than we need as far as consumption energy, food. And that's why it's important to exercise. We know that exercise and movement helps to reduce our blood sugar as well. It helps to regulate our insulin levels. And so helps to regulate blood levels, blood sugar. And so there's a number of different reasons, for that. But again, that spiritual component of movement is so important, because we think about, we're moving for a cause larger than ourselves. And when we move for a cause larger than ourselves, it really takes our brain waves and the way we're operating to another level. And we're not just, I'm exercising because I want a nice set of abs, or I want a nice ass. It's beyond that. I want clarity in my mind. I want spiritual grounding. I want functional fitness and functional strength. And I want to be able to have emotional grounding from the release I get from movement and exercise. So that's the spiritual, physical, mental, and emotional. And also in the forefront of your mind, one of the foundational thought processes that can be applied to your movement is we come, as indigenous people, we come from ancestors who moved, who were athletically gifted and talented through all of the games that they played, the warfare tactics, the dances they've done. That's the people we come from. And so it's always important to remember that as you take on and you get on your movement journey. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna do easy dynamic warm up, standing up. We might do a little bit of stuff on the floor. So only do what you feel comfortable doing. And then what I'm gonna do is we just have a simple pair of dumbbells and a kettlebell. And I wanna demonstrate just some simple things that you can do with these at home. And I'm not some fitness expert or some fitness trainer. I'm just sharing what I know, what I've learned over the years through my research and training with other people and learning about ways that we can strengthen ourselves. So, and so we're going to do that. We're going to jump into that a little bit. If you have a pair of dumbbells at home or just one, that's fine. Use what you got. If you got a kettlebell at home, that's good too. But I know that kettlebells are a little bit less common, but I did want to kind of bring that in and talk about, how that's a great tool as well. So we're going to be doing that with our body weight. Okay. So before we start that, we're going to start with our breath before we move. So I invite you to jump up and move with me. Exercise with me. Let's exercise. Let's work out. Let's strengthen our bodies for our everyday life purpose and all of that. So we're going to start with our breathing, okay? And first, how we're going to breathe is we're going to breathe in our nose. We're going to hold it and exhale out your mouth. And we're going to just do 7 deep breaths real quick. And as we take in those 7 breaths, you're going to use your imagination that you're taking in all the elements from our Mother Earth here, all the gifts from great Creator. It's filling up your body, and it's about to energize you for your little movement session that you're going to do. So when you breathe in your nose, you're going to fill up your diaphragm and your stomach. Fill up the pit of your stomach. So we're going to breathe in, exhale out your mouth. Notice when I exhale, I deflate a little bit. I inhale, I inflate, and then I exhale, I really deflate. And as you're exhaling, imagine that you're exhaling all sorts of things you don't want to carry. Maybe we have negativity in our minds today. Maybe somebody said something to you. Maybe there's something that's coming up in the future that you're dreading. Imagine when you exhale, we're getting rid of all of that, and we're filling ourselves up with just power, positivity, strength, all of that, because it's going to fuel your body for your movement. So let's take 7 breaths. Okay, so just stand up if you can. If you're sitting down, you can do that as well. So we're going to take the first breath in. Exhale. Push all that out. Here's the second breath. Breathing in your nose. Big breath. Exhale. Here's your third breath. Breathing in. In your nose, fill it up. Exhale out your mouth. Here's the fourth. Breathing in. Taking in oxygen. Exhale. Pushing out more oxygen this time. Here's the fifth. Breathing in. Exhale. 6th breath. Breathing in. Filling up your body. Exhale. Push all that oxygen out. Last breath. 7. Breathing in. And exhale. Begin to shake. See how I'm kind of swaying back and forth. I'm moving my weight back and forth. I'm just doing real light, easy movement like this. I'm switching like this, alternating, getting my hands nice and loose. And you're going to continue your breath. And when you continue your breath, you're in your nose, out your mouth. And don't be afraid to make that noise, make that sound, okay, as you're doing that. So follow along here. I'm going to just do really easy movements starting off. And you could get your family involved as well. You can get your family involved as you do this as well. And we're starting simple. We're just swinging our arms. And as you're doing this movement, look how loose my arms are. As you're doing this movement, I want you to think about your purpose for moving today. Why are you moving today? To strengthen yourself? Are you moving today to relieve a little bit of stress? Are you working out? Are you moving to get more energy? See, follow me as I'm going in here. Starting with our shoulders. We're just starting easy, keeping your breath going. And as you're doing new movements, I want you to connect with your mind and think about, how this movement makes you feel. Think about the body parts that are being utilized right here. We're opening up our chest. We're getting some mobility in our shoulders. We're getting our heart rate up. So we're getting nice and easy. These are my favorite easy dynamic warm-ups I do all the time before I do something as easy as taking a swift hike, before I go out and do some work in our garden, before I go, say, shoot a bow or do any kind of strenuous kettlebell exercising, I start off real simple. Because there's a lot of days I don't have the energy and I'm not really determined to work out, but I know it's something that when I start doing it, I start feeling better and better, and I start putting way more into it. And when I get done, I'm glad I did. I'm glad I did. So we're gonna bring that right arm up and twist the anu. Up again, breathe in, twist, twist your thoracic spine, your upper body and your hips a little bit. Left arm comes up, exhale. Again, left arm up, exhale. Again, up. Now we're gonna go ahead and swing and twist. Hopefully you're following along, but if you can't follow along, maybe you can watch and maybe you're getting ideas for when you do get a chance to move. Maybe you're at work at your desk and you can't get up and move, but maybe you're remembering some of these movements that you might try later. So feel free to watch. You can do this sitting down too. If you're a person who cannot stand up for whatever reason, you can do this as well sitting down. All these movements I did were starting with our shoulders, creating mobility, all that. Just going in here. When we start moving our body starts telling us what's tight, what has lack of mobility, what is weak. And so that's why movement's important. It's a way to assess how our physical body is, how the functionality of that. And then we can start putting in effort to start to strengthen those areas of our body and to try to be whole with our body, okay? We're just starting simple right here. I'm just trying to get, again, we're just trying to get our heart rate up a little bit. We're just bringing in this right here. Working our locomotion. This is what we do when we walk, right? We walk like this. Let's bring our knees up a little high, a little bit, engage your core. Keep breathing. Stand nice and upright. Good, 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 good. We're gonna go over into our hips. This is another one of my favorite dynamic warm-ups for opening up your hamstrings, opening up your hips a little bit, getting your lower body ready. This is a good one if you sit down a lot at work or you drive a lot for your work. When we sit, this right here, your hamstring right there becomes more tight, it becomes more immobile. So we gotta keep it nice and active. And so here's what I'm doing. Just watch me first. Just watch me. Watch how I stand past shoulder width and I'm turning to the right. My ears going to the top of my knee, and look at my toes pointed up and this left leg is bent. And I'm alternating side by side. And I'm breathing. So watch from the side too. I'm not going forward, I'm going sideways. You should feel some dynamic stretch happening back here in your hamstring, right here in your inner quads. You're opening up. Now we're going to kind of do something a little bit of the opposite of that movement is what I think. Standing back in this position, slight bend in your knees, and you're just alternating. See how my chest stays forward, and I'm turning and pivoting at my hip socket. So if you ever watch grass dancers, you see they got really mobile hips, like their hips are nice and loose, and that's what we want. We want that. So you're pivoting. You're really trying to turn that hip socket as far as you can. Because today in our world, in our sedentary world, we have tight hips because we sit all the time. But our people, they didn't sit in the chairs. They sat like this everywhere. Or they sat down cross-legged. I've seen pictures of people in their 80s sitting down cross-legged. You don't see that no more because in our world that we're living in today is that we sit in chairs. And so we no longer know how to sit like this. So it's good to be able to sit that way, opening up the hips, getting the hips nice and going. So if you got bad knees and you want to try this too, if your knees take a while to get warm up, this is a good one. Small circles. Keep breathing. Go the other direction. Keep breathing. The more you breathe, the more you're carrying oxygen through all of your body. You're going to get your heart rate up a little. Other direction again. You notice we're moving down the body. We start with the shoulders. We start with hips, knees. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into our ankles. Ankle mobility is so important. Again, because we sit so much, we have a lack of mobility in our ankles. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna straighten your right leg, put it forward, your heel on the ground, your toe pointed up, and you're just pedaling like that, back and forth. Getting to your ankle. And again, you're using your mind to try to connect to this movement here. You're really putting a lot of focus and energy in moving that ankle right there. Do the other side. Breathe as you do it. Count in your indigenous language as you do this thing. Homoko, gok, vaik, geek, hutas, chup, vukam, gigik, homachkum, fustamam. We're just moving. Utilize your language. Now you're gonna open up your toes, and again, I'm barefoot right here, so if you can train barefoot, that's good. We wear shoes a lot in our world today, so our toes get crunched together. But if you even look at ancestral photos, or if you look at some of our indigenous relatives that still live the original way, like down in Central South America, or our relatives out in the Pacifics and in Australia that are barefoot, you look at their toes are wide open. They're not crunched together like we are from wearing cowboy boots and tight basketball shoes all the time. Their toes are nice and open, and that's how we got to get again. And how we do that is we got to pay special attention to that feet. And so what we're going to do is we're going to bend this foot back here. We're bending right here. You're going to get a little stretch going in there. I'm moving it. Open up those toes. I'm wearing socks because my feet are extra crusty. You don't want to see. So here we go. And then we're going to go the other way. You're breathing still, just trying to get some movement in there. Open up those toes in there, inside of your socks. Open those up inside of your shoes. Take your shoes off once in a while. Good. So we're doing all the body. So let's even go to our wrists because we might be doing stuff right there. So let's putting our wrist forward. We're just doing this. Straighten the elbow. Let's go to the left side too. Shake it out a little bit. We're keeping our breath going through the whole time right there. So some of the movements that we're going to do today, we're going to do some pushing movements. We're going to do some pulling movements. We're going to do movements that bend at our hip hinge. We're going to do some lunging movements and some squatting movements and maybe some things for our core. And so again, like I said, this can be for all levels, and I'm going to do the best I can to share about ways to modify these as well. So if you have, again, we're gonna do some dumbbells and as well. So if you have a pair of dumbbells, which most people just have that's what we're gonna use. But if not, you can use your body weight. But first, if your legs are nice and warmed up, we're gonna go ahead and go into starting with the lunge. So here's what I would do. So if say my goal for my workout would be maybe I'm gonna do a session that's gonna strengthen my lower body. And again, we're talking about strengthening, so that way you improve your functionality as you go through your daily activities. So we're not necessarily talking about bodybuilding and trying to get big muscles, which I'm not saying that that's bad to do. But what I'm saying is what's important for us and with the majority of Native people and as well as everyone is that we strengthen movement patterns rather than movement, rather than muscle groups. Strengthen movement patterns rather than muscle groups. So one of the movement patterns we do is we lunge. We do that in our everyday tasks, okay? When we're working, if you play sports, we do some sorts of lunging movements. And even if you don't, lunging is a great way to strengthen our body, so it improves our balance. So I know that balance is really important for people as they start to age. Because as we know that there's the possibility of elder or somebody falling and hurting themselves. So if we do different types of lunges here, we can improve our stability. We're going to start really simple like this. Just watch first. Just watch. So what we're doing is I'm simply just doing this. So I'm stepping forward with my right foot, and I'm going to bring my left arm in. I'm just doing a simple one right now. So notice when I step forward, I bring my breath in, and when I exhale, I push away. Breathing in, filling up your lungs, and exhale. And one of the reasons why you want to do that is because if you're in this lunge position, this muscle is flexed, everything, these muscle groups are flexed, your core is working to stabilize, and if your breath is in, your oxygen is in your diaphragm, it's helping to stabilize you, especially if you're carrying weight on your arms or over your head. So you're going to breathe in. So again, we're starting with the right leg, okay, and we're stepping forward. You're going to bring your arm into it, so we're just working that locomotion as well. So we're going to step forward with that right leg, and we're going to do, let's start simple. Let's go 7 on each side, okay? Here we go, step forward, and 1, 2, 3, and we'll go. Up, right, knee, with us, shoot, welcome, dig, welcome. What's the moment? That's 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. All right, so we did the extra one right there. So that's all. So we're doing starting real simple, and again, that's for a lot of our people who are not unable to lunge all the way down. That's a good one to be able to do. Okay. So now, if you are able to lunge all the way down, we're gonna do that. We're gonna do just a standing lunge, standing in place. We're gonna do one standing in place. Let's start with our right leg again, and notice when I'm down right here. This time I'm not touching my knee. As I go down right here, I'm not touching my knee. It's close to it, and I'm standing up. I'm doing a reverse lunge on this variation. So there's many different lunges. There's a reverse lunge, right? There's a forward lunge. There's a lateral lunge. And so there's many different ways for us to do that. And we have something called 4 directions lunge too, which we'll do in a moment. But right now we're going to start really simple. Notice I'm down right here, standing up. So we're going to do reverse, sorry. You're going to start with the right leg, and that's all what you're doing. It's up to you if you want your knee to go above like that, above your toe, or in front of your toe, or above your toe. It's up to you. And I know that's controversial, but the science doesn't say, the new science doesn't, it sort of refutes the, knee going in front of the toe is causing knee problems over time. I do it many different times, and I never had problems with it. So it's up to you how you want to do that. We're going to do a reverse lunge. Start down here, and you notice my arms are with the 2. Okay, we're just doing 5 on each side. Breathe in, exhale, stand up. Beijing. Knee. Swing. You win. Now none. Okay. That's that right side. Let's go to the left side. You're bending that left leg. Okay. And you're standing up right here again. Remember my arms with it. Okay, here we go. Starting right here. Breathe in and exhale, stand up. Wanji. Numpa. Yamani. Dopa. Top down. So we're using that arm in there. We're using that arm as we do that right there, okay? So that's what I would do. I would start with strengthening my lower body. I would do a lunge movement, and then I would go into do a hip hinge movement. So we're gonna put together a circuit. I'm gonna do 3 different exercises, and that's gonna make one circuit, okay? So that first exercise was a lunge. The second exercise right here was the, that we're gonna do is a hip hinge movement. And the third movement we're gonna do is we'll do a squat variation. Okay, we're gonna do a squat variation. So we're gonna go and move into that with the hip hinge movement. Watch me first. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna be right here. Notice that it looks like I'm gonna jump, right? So those are the movement patterns that's associated with jumping. It's a bend in the hips. And all of your strength and power is coming from your glutes and your hamstrings right here. Your core, your arms are getting you up there. Your toes are pointing. Your core is stabilizing. You're taking breath in and exhaling. And you're exhaling that oxygen out So you're using your power. Everyone has inner power. We all have power that was born, we were born with. It was attached to us at birth. And we can utilize that power in many different activities. For me, the way I use it is to move my body, or I use that power to move weight really fast because it's gratifying or makes me feel well. So that's what we're gonna do. We're doing that short hip hinge movement. And then we're gonna add some weight to it as well, okay? So start right here. Notice my back. This is an important aspect of this movement. Your spine is not hunched over. As you see, my back I got what they call a neutral spine. So when I'm in the hip hinge movement, I'm not hunched over and I'm not like that. I'm right here. I'm pushing my hips back. And as you see that my spine, it's not curved like that. Then when you curve, you feel all the tension of your lower back. You don't want that. You're getting a slight arch. You're getting a neutral spine. And then you're squeezing the glute. You're squeezing your hams. Even if you just squeeze them, holding right there. If you squeeze them, they stand you up, not your lower back. You don't have to use your lower back so much. Try that again right here. Bend at your hip. Squeeze your hamstrings and your glutes to stand up. So it puts very minimal strain on your lower back. So that's what we're trying to do. Okay? So let's go ahead and let's do 7 of those, okay? Okay, here we go. Breathing in. You're gonna start right here. You're gonna stand straight up like you're gonna jump, okay? Again, remember you're squeezing those glutes and hamstrings. So here we go. You're gonna take a deep breath in. Exhale up. Wednesday. Domba. Babri. Dopa. Sahtan. So that's what we're doing. You're going up. Bam. Bam. So that one's really getting our heart rate up. If you're not breathing a little bit or panting after a little bit, maybe you got to put a little bit more effort in there, okay? So now, so that's our hip hinge movement. We're going to add weight in the next session, in the next set. So now we're going to go into a squat movement because we're working our lower half today. We're trying to get strong for our lower body. First movement we did was a lunge. Second, it was the hip hinge right now. And the third exercise we're going to do is the squat variation. So we're going to do what they call a sumo squat. So notice that we're kind of working all these different angles of our legs. Like the first one went behind us, this one right here. Now we're going to point our toes outward. Notice I'm pointing my toes out to the point where, see how narrow I am? It's almost like as if there was a thin crevice I can move through. That's what you want to do. So if you ever seen the Maoris and you ever seen their haka, that's sort of the stance you're going to take. But once you get that stance, you're going to take a little bit deeper of a movement. So that's where we're going to be at. We're going to do that sumo squat and standing up. Watch me first. Watch me do a few reps. So again, that breath, taking in oxygen air as I go in my eccentric phase, and I exhale in the concentric phase when I'm contracting. I'm standing up. Notice the only thing's bending is my knees and my hips. I'm not bowing forward as I do that, okay? So here we go. That's what I'm doing. Okay, let's do 10 of those because our legs are really strong and we need to put a little bit more resistance on our legs, okay? So here we are with the sumo squat. It's pretty wide there. Toes are out. And if you're feeling like your knees want to come in, you want to pull them out. Okay, so you don't want that. You want this. You want to pull them out and stand nice and upright. Okay, so we're going to do 10 of those. Okay, starting down here. Go. Dog. Fight. Eat. With the 2. Wolfgang. Iggy. Humschgang. Wisdom. So we're started with our sumo squat. So that's one set. We're doing 2 more sets to make one circuit. Okay, we're strengthening our lower body. And if you don't take too long of a rest, then we're also getting a cardiovascular workout as well. Some people say, hey, cardio, what about cardio? You know, there's many different ways to do it. There's the way to do it through strength training and power, training those energy systems. or we can do it through running and things like that, dancing, you know, training our aerobic system. They're both important. But this way, if you're banging out set after set, you're getting a good, nice cardiovascular workout as well. So if certain people have knees that are not so well for these things, you can incorporate your chair. And how we'll do that is this one tends to be great for people who are unable to squat all the way down, people who are older or have knee issues, recovery for whatever reason. Notice I'm sitting right at the edge. I'm sitting right at the edge. And my knees are pointed outward a little bit. So I'm sitting forward a little bit. And I'm standing up, touching down. That's another way to do that as well. If your knees and you need some assistance, that can totally help as well. So there's that option as well. I've seen people as old as 80 years old do squats with the chair. So we're gonna do 2 more sets, and now we're gonna add the weights to it. So if you remember, the first movement was a lunge. So again, you have the option, if you wanna do a forward lunge, you can do that as well. Or if you wanna do the reverse lunge, you can do that as well. But we're just kind of keeping it really simple today because we don't have a lot of time, or we're not trying to get all crazy. So what we're gonna do is, if you have your dumbbells, go ahead and grab your dumbbells. If you only got one, it's just simply doing that. So if you got one, you can try putting the weight on the other side, the side of the bending knee, if you like. Or you can also put it on this side as well. And it's gonna, both is gonna make your core engage and try to keep your body nice and stable. So it's up to you, your choice on how you wanna do that. We're gonna do we're doing 5 reps on each leg. So if you got 2 of them, again, right here is that simple, 2 of them. You know, there's a number of ways to do that. There's a number of things if you want to make it more compounded movement, you can do this and then do a lateral raise. There's that type of thing too. People do that, or you can do down here in the bicep curl. Or you can be right here. You can do something like this. There's a lot of things you can do. Get creative. If you understand the body and the way it works, you can do a lot of things. That's a compounded movement right there. You're going to be utilizing a lot more energy and getting the metabolism to ramp up, burning a lot more energy for sure. So that's what we're going to do. Again, we're going 5 on each leg. We're going to start with the right leg going back or in front of you. Okay, so I'm going to do a reverse lunge. You can also just do it in place. You can also do the lunge like in place. All right. I'm gonna switch right here so you can kind of see a little bit better. You're just doing 5 on each leg, okay? You're doing 5 on each leg. Go at your own count. Whenever you're done with your 5, go on your other side. I'll start down here. So that's my 5 on that side. Again, go at your pace as well. All right. So now we did our lunge. We're going to go back to our hip hinge. Remember, the hip hinge was this one. So again, if you don't have any weight or kettlebell, you can do that again. That's a great one too for someone who's an elder. That's a great one for that as well. But if you do have a weight or a kettlebell, we're going to do a simple deadlift. So I'll use a kettlebell right here, then I'll demonstrate with the weights. I'm right here. Again, there's a slight bend in my knees. Look at my back. It's not like this. Okay, I'm not looking up. I'm looking down. That's the other thing with the hip hinge is the head. What helps keep your head, the back, your cervical spine, keep it in the line with your thoracic and lumbar spine. So you're like this. Think of that bird, that little pendulum toy thing. So I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. I'm not looking up. Sometimes it causes to break your neutral spine. So I find it most helpful if my head stays in alignment with my spine. So this is what we're doing. Watch first. So again, you see that there's a lot of force and power in it. And again, that's what we're picking up, and you're also getting a good cardiovascular exercise with that. So if you wanted to, you can use the dumbbells. And the dumbbells, because they're shorter, you don't have to go all the way down. So what I'm doing, how I'm going to do with the dumbbells is I'm starting right here, pushing my hips back, keeping tension in my glutes and hips, not on my low back. Right there. So I'm squeezing my glutes and hams to get up, and this is developing strength and some power in all your glutes and your hips, and this is important for just everyday walking. You feel a difference, even walking. You feel a difference getting out of your chair, getting out of your bed in the morning when you do this sorts of training, okay? So we're gonna do 10 at your own count your language, your own reps, okay? So we're gonna start now, is I'm gonna go ahead and just use these kettlebells right here. I'm starting, and then you're gonna do your 10, okay? Make sure you're using your breath. Remember what you're training for. We're training for physical wellness, spiritual, mental, emotional, all that. We're training to be well for our family. So when you start getting tired, you got to remember these things. Think about why we're doing it. Okay? You're going to start on your own time. You're doing 10. So if you're just learning those movements, you want to start light. Okay, you want to practice, and you want to work with somebody who can coach you, who has experience in this. Okay, so it's important to do that as well. But I'm just showing you generally the idea. Okay, so and then we're going to go into our back to our sumo squat. This time we're adding weight. So if you have your dumbbell, take one of your dumbbells, and right here you can do this with your sumo squat. Goblet squat with your dumbbell. Okay. If you have a kettlebell, you can do it hanging like this, or you can go right here and this goblet squat. Okay. So that's what we're going to do. You're going to do 10 reps again with that. And then that'll be our one set right there. Okay. So go at your own time again. Use your breath. All right. So there's a number of ways, and if you don't have this equipment, again, using your body weight. So you don't always have to go for reps. You can set your timer and say, how many can I do in 30 seconds? How many can I do in 1 minute? And go at your own pace. Never compare yourself to how somebody else is going. We're all on a different journey, so it's important to do that. So even with those short amount of reps, I'm getting a little bit of my heart rate's up. I'm getting a little bit of sweat going. So sometimes that's all it takes is a short 15, 20-minute movement session, and that could be good for you. It doesn't need to be strenuous to the point where you're killing yourself. It doesn't need to be spending an hour and a half, 2 hours at the gym. It could be at home, 15, 20 minutes, a couple days of the week. Maybe 2 days of the week, you do something more strenuous where you take an hour of doing that. So then we would do that set one more time, or you can do 2. You can make it 4 sets to be 1 circuit. So I would do 3. So you got 3 exercises, do them back to back, rest 1 minute, do it again 3 times to make 1 circuit. Then you might go on and do something else. You might go to even maybe that's good for you, but maybe you want to do another circuit, another exercise. And then there's other things you can do for the lower body, but maybe you want to go to your upper body. Maybe you want to do something like that. And so I'm going to go over 5 minutes because we started a little late. So hopefully you're still there. Hopefully you're bearing with me. I'm tuning in from Zoom, so I can't see the comments on there. So I apologize if there's questions being asked. I can't see them. So now what we do, maybe day or another day you want to go with your upper body. Okay, we want to strengthen our pushing motion. Maybe we want to strengthen our pulling motion. Maybe we want to strengthen our core and our rotational movements. All right, so we're going to start something as simple as, you could start something as simple as your dumbbells pressing over your head. And again, you're breathing in, exhale on the concentric, breathing in on eccentric, exhale. If you wanted to, you can make it a compounded movement where you do a squat and you're holding them right here. You're doing a squat, and pressing up, you're working your full body. That's total body strengthening right there. If you have the kettlebell, you can do something as simple as this. I'm squeezing my glutes, by the way, my core, all that. So it's total body. Exhale, pressing over my head, breathing in. See, again, when you're breathing in, you're filling up your lungs. It's good because you got that weight right here. And you're exhaling over your head. You're pushing with your shoulders, your triceps, your upper chest, your glute is firing, all that. So the kettlebell is also great for, this is the rack position, also sometimes referred to as a clean. Notice, look at my thumb is right here in my neck, sort of, right there. Notice I'm not slouched. Sometimes we do, sometimes that's certainly a way to, but we're not slouched too far back or forward. We're right here, your shoulders are stacked up on top of your hips. And you're keeping engagement in your core, and I'm pressing overhead. Right there. So maybe there's a number of ways you want to do of strengthening your upper body with those few pieces of equipment. You can press over your head with your dumbbells. It doesn't have to be two, you can have one, single one, pressing over your head. Or even with this dumbbell, you can do a goblet press. Again, it doesn't have to be super heavy. If you have something really light, you can say, maybe I'm gonna do this however many I can get in 30 seconds, 45 seconds, 60, however that goes. And so, and we're just doing the general basic movement patterns, which again is pushing and all that. So maybe we wanna do some pulling. Maybe because the opposite of pushing is pulling, so you wanna exercise those pulling motions, muscles too. So we're gonna go back to your hip hinge. And again, it's important to engage your glutes and your hamstrings because you have weight right here. And if you don't do that, that weight's gonna pull and it's gonna hurt your lower back. So we're gonna pull, that's all we're doing right there. And notice my elbows are in. And I'm pulling it up to like right here. That's where I'm going. I'm squeezing my back, squeezing those back muscles. So it's not necessarily your arms, it's your back that's pulling, okay? So maybe we start down here and let's do 10 of those. Okay, as your arms are hanging. And if you don't have a dumbbell and you have kettlebell, you can do this one. There's a number of ways to do it right there. You can do right there, or you can do right here, single arm. So with those dumbbells, right here, and again, engaging your glutes, engaging your hamstrings. Take a deep breath in, exhale, and pull. Hold for a second and let down slowly. Let's go for 10. Notice again, I'm not looking up. My head's right here. Keeps a nice alignment in my spine. Squeezing my back muscles. Good. So because of that one, because we are standing up, you're engaging your hamstrings, your core, all that. So you're working more movement patterns and more muscle groups. You're combining them to work together as a unit. So strengthening the body is a total unit. So, so again, we're thinking about strengthening our movement patterns. We're not necessarily thinking about, getting a nice looking body, which you can through these movements, but it takes a lot more effort. And we're talking about general fitness and wellness for just everyday folks that want to maintain, strong and well bodied. And so, well, that's what we did. Maybe you do 3 sets. You'll go overhead pressing. You're going to rest 15 seconds or so. Then you're going to go into pulling. You're going to go into a pulling movement. And then you're going to rest 1 minute. You're going to do that over twice, 2 more times to make 3 sets to be 1 circuit. And so You could do, there's a number of ways to press, different pushing motions, all that kind of stuff. You can use Earth Gym, where you get a rock, use a rock, overhead pressure rock, row, do a row with that rock as well, logs, all that kind of stuff. And so hopefully the dynamic movements I shared in the beginning were helpful. You could also do things like get out and take a nice swift walk around the block to get your heart rate up, and coming inside and doing some more dynamic movement before you pick up your weights, and just so that way you don't injure yourself. And if you're not that familiar with these things and you want to get involved with it, start doing some researching and look up functional fitness, look up the beginnings, the basics, try to find someone in your area that can coach you on your form so that way you don't hurt yourself. But just to wrap up, there's many different ways to become physically strong. We can use just our body weight. People do it through yoga. But when you add resistance, what's good about that is that we're developing more our muscle much quicker than we would if we were just doing body weight. Body weight, we're doing a lot of reps, or something such as dancing, which is working our aerobic fitness, our cardiovascular fitness. But we add some more resistance training there. You're also it also improves our bone density, which is important for people in aging populations. And it's good to think about those kinds of things. And a lot of times people think that they stay away from weights because they think it's going to make them big and bulky. That doesn't happen overnight. That's really hard to get like that. So don't think about, oh, I don't want to lift too heavy. It takes a lot of work and effort and eating a certain way to get muscles really big. Trust me, if it was that easy, everybody would be doing it. So don't be afraid to pick up some weights, no matter your age, no matter your athletic level. Weights are for everyone to do that. And it's, again, like I said, it helps with bone density. The more muscle to body fat ratio we have, that's associated with longer life as well. That's been in some studies. There's also been studies showing there's a correlation between the grip strength and longer lifespan. And there's also a lot of great research showing that having more muscles in the leg is good for prevention of type 2 diabetes, because your muscles in your body is the largest storage depot of glucose. So if we have more muscles for that, we have somewhere with that glucose to go. The cells and the muscles will soak up that glucose as opposed to circulating in our bloodstream and keeping our insulin high all the time. That's some new science that's recently coming out. I wish I had the link to post here, but I don't have it on hand. But so again, resistance training it's for everyone, and it's good. It's not just for athletes. It's not just for people who are trying to get big muscles. It's important to add some resistance to all of your movement. It gives you a different approach than what we get from, say, just calisthenics or yoga or dancing. They all contribute something important. Running, they all contribute something different. And it's important to have a well-rounded approach. Sprint, get out and jog, take swift walks, do yoga, train flexibility, train your mobility, train your strength, train your power, your cardiovascular endurance. All these different energy systems are important to make our body function nice and well. So hopefully this little session was helpful for somebody. There's a lot to discuss and a lot to do, but I'm just trying to keep it really simple and give some ideas and hopefully inspire somebody even and motivate someone. So whatever you're doing out there in the world, I hope everyone is doing well. And if you're having a hard time, I encourage you to dig deep and to realize the power that you have. It's never been taken away from you, and to access that power to get on your journey of health and wellness. And our journey of health and wellness is one that's unique to each and every one of us. And sometimes it's a lonely road, but we got to get on it and take care of ourselves, because no one's going to do it for us. We have to do it for ourselves. We're in a healing phase collectively as Native people and other people around the world. And right now, as the world is out of balance environmentally, socially, politically, it's important that we take care of our whole wellness as Native people to be able to live well amidst this chaos that is all around us. And to remember to live by the teachings of our ancestors and not to shame each other. When we shame each other, we're acting like our colonizers. When you shame each other on the net through social media for not living the way you think they live as a Native person, then you're acting like the colonizers. Shaming was never our way. It's never a way of Native people. Don't worry about if someone's not doing something right. We worry about ourselves, take care of our family, walk the best way we can. That's the best thing we can do right now. And if everybody does that, we can start to see some improvement in the way we are the shape, the state of native country is. So again, fitness and movement is just a small part of total wellness. Our songs, our ceremonies, having peacefulness in your life, your home, the sacredness of your home, getting good sleep. All these things are really important. Having your social structure, your clanship, your family, the sense of belonging, all these things contribute to our wellness. The foods that we're putting in our body, is all these things contribute to our wellness. Physical movement is just one component of it. So I just want to leave it there. I don't want to babble on too long, but thank you for hanging with me. If you're still there, I appreciate it. And feel free to share this. And again, take care of yourself out there and keep the fire. The guy.